Hello and welcome to this virtual production with the Unreal Vcam app presentation. Now, as an instructor, I'm always finding ways to teach, in this case, virtual production to my students. Having worked on a couple of virtual productions before, most of my students, do not have access to a facility where there is this huge virtual production LED walls and all those equipment. So what we do have is a lot of green screen studios, and I want to show a simple setup where the students can actually practice all these concepts on their own, or I can even demonstrate this in a lab. That's why I come out with this demo. Okay, so let's take a look at what we can actually do with this setup. So you can see in this simple video here, I have the green screen setup, and this is the equipment that I'm using. All right, just an iPhone with the virtual cam app installed and running and streaming the tracking data into Unreal. And also I have a high quality web camera attached to it, sending a live video feed, and the compositing is done live within Unreal. So I'm going to show you how you can set this up. So this is the content of my presentation today. So we already gone through the introduction. So then after that, we will go through what we will learn, what are the tools that we'll learn within Unreal itself, and what are the things that you will require to get this to work. And then I'll go through the entire process, and finally conclusion. So what will you learn? Now, you will learn how to set up and use the Vcam app from Unreal. It comes in both the iPhone and Android. Now, if you want to know more details, I highly recommend watching the video by Amit from Magnet VFX, and here is the YouTube link. I shall provide the YouTube link on my channel. And also, how to set up the media player video stream to stream the webcam video into the Composure media plate with the chroma key active. And this is the link for the video produced by Jovan Tomasevic, which I've learned quite a lot on getting this to work. And then finally, we will capture the composite preview into a video. Okay. So what are the things that you require? Of course, some basic knowledge of Unreal 5. Okay, an iPhone Pro, preferably an iPhone, because I find the iPhone tracks slightly better than an Android. Okay, and then with the Vcam app installed, a high quality web camera, and the camera that I highly recommend is the Insta360 Link 2C, okay, which is producing the footage that you've seen earlier on. And if you don't have access to that camera, you can also use the Logitech C920. Now you can try other webcams. Not all webcams will work from my experience, okay, but currently the best one that I'm using is the Insta360. You'll need an Epic Games account to download the free assets so that you can put it behind or within the Unreal scene. And of course, you need a phone rig. Okay, you don't have to get those very expensive camera rigs. You can get the very relatively affordable rig right from Ulanzi. Okay, let me just show you a quick view of what it looks like. So this is the smartphone rig, okay, by Ulanzi. So this is the rig that I'm using. All right, so it is made of plastic, and then you can also hold it up. And the other thing that you will probably require is a tripod with a quick release plate, okay, so that you can release. Let me just release my setup over here, and then you can see this is my setup over here. You can hold it, and then you can film your virtual production setup. And I can just put this back very easily. Okay. Then of course you need to have a basic green screen. Okay, the green screen that I've used is a very simple felt cloth. Okay, try to avoid using a green screen that is, or a green background that is reflective. And also some figurines and to test out the composite. Okay, so this is the user interface of the setup once everything is working, and I can actually show you the live setup right now that I have. Okay, this is the live setup right now. Okay, and you can see the camera tracking data is being sent into the video within Unreal right now, and everything is working pretty well. And of course, there's a little bit of sliding going on here, but the motion, everything is still tracking very good. Okay, let me just quickly jump back to the slides. Then finally, this is what the green screen setup looks like. Right, it's actually a green cloth, so this is a felt material. It's not reflecting, doesn't have a lot of reflection. So it is a great material for doing this setup. And then you can see clearly this is the setup of my rig. Okay, I have the iPhone 14 Pro here, and then the Ulanzi rig, the quick release over here, and then the webcam. All right, so I'm gonna jump into Unreal right now and then show you how to set up the whole entire process. So let me just close my slides. And since this is the actual setup itself, I'm gonna start off with a brand new setup. Okay, now when you start to do this, of course you must install the Vcam app on your iPhone first. And when you set up your Vcam app, so this is the user interface that you will see. Let me just show you the image first. Alright, so this is what you see on the app when you launch it on your iPhone or even your Android. And you need to key in the IP address of your computer. I'll show you how to do that later on. So first, get the app installed on your iPhone or Android. Okay, so let me show you the Epic Games new project settings. Okay, let's see, where is this one? Yeah. So when you start your Epic Games library or start a brand new project, right? So this is what you look like. Now the Unreal Engine that I'm using is Unreal Engine 5.5.1. So when you start, you don't really need a starter content, but there's a specific template that I want you to use. That would be the film and video and live events and virtual production setup. Okay, so go and create a folder on your computer and then give it a name. So I'm not going to recreate a brand new one because every time I create a new project, right, it takes some time to render the textures. So this is the template that you will use. Okay, so I will show you what it looks like when you first load up this brand new template. So let me load up the original level, okay, which is the under the maps, virtual production, okay, project, maps, and main. So I'm going to load that up right now. I'm going to close this window. So this is what you will see when you first load up this virtual production template. And the important thing is this template have all these plugins enabled. So if you don't have all these plugins enabled, right, you will not be able to stream in the camera track from Vcam. So you can see one of it is the virtual camera. And another important plugin that we need to have installed is Composure. All right. So Composure allows the compositing and the chroma keying to work. All right. So all of these are activated, so that is good. So next, how do we bring in the custom environment or custom asset into this project? Okay. So what you need to do is, of course, you need your Epic Games account. All right, so you will have to go over to the Epic Games library, or in this case, the asset library, which is right now known as Fab. Okay, so this is Epic Games, the launcher. So once you launch this, okay, so this is the project that I'm working on, and I managed to acquire this fantastic village pack, which is the one that I use for the virtual background. So you can find it on Fab, which is this site. Let me just show you what it looks like. So if you go over to Fab, this is what you will see. and then you want to search for Fantastic Village Pack. Now I already own this, okay, because this is a free asset, so you can just download this or view it in my library. So once you acquire this asset, right, you should be able to find it within your library. So in my Fab library, so I'll just search for Fantastic, and then I'll say add to project. So under add to project, okay, then you'll pick the project, which is the virtual production project that you are working on. And in this case, right, this is a project that I've already added in. So I don't want to go through the entire process because it will take time to rebuild the textures and everything. So the loadout will take too long. So once you added it in, you will find it inside your content browser over here and listed as Fantastic Village. All right. So in Fantastic Village, you will find the maps, and then the environment that I'm using is called Map Village Day. So I'm going to double click on it to load it. Now in this environment, right, I already set up the Vcam, I already set up the Composure. So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to remove the setup that I've done, and then go through the entire process again. So first I'm going to remove my compositing setup, and then within this content folder, I already created another virtual production folder. This is just to keep my media player. Okay, that is where I bring in my video source. So I'm going to delete all of this, and I'll show you how to recreate all of this again. So I don't have any of this right now. And also, the virtual production template comes with the Composure window already open on. So if you open up a vanilla Unreal project template, right, you will not see this Composure window. So to see the Composure window, right, you will have to go to Windows, and then under virtual production Composure before you can have this tab. But if you start out with the virtual production template, like what I mentioned, right, you should be able to see the Composure tab over here. So that is very important. Now under the outliner, I'm going to also get rid of the virtual cameras that I've created. So we're going to recreate the virtual cameras together. So the virtual cameras start with the name Vcam. So I'm going to delete two of these. We're going to bring them in again. All right. So now this is very important. When you finally load up this Map Village Day, in the original map, right, there is a cinema camera. It is important that you delete away this cinema camera. In fact, you want to filter out for any cameras. If you click on this drop down and look for this cinematic cameras, make sure you get rid of all the cameras here. Okay, otherwise, right, the Composure will not link to the virtual camera. So that is very important. So let me uncheck that filter. Okay, so now we have the basic scene. We don't have the camera here. So important, please delete away the camera. And also within the your project here, just create a virtual production folder. You can just right mouse click and then create a new folder here. So once you have a virtual production, this is where we're going to bring in our media streams. Okay, so now in order for the stream to successfully, the stream that starts in your mobile phone to successfully go into your setup, make sure that your mobile phone is in the same Wi-Fi network. Okay, so obviously the fastest, the faster the better, the same wireless network within your router at home or in school or in a lab. So make sure you're within the same Wi-Fi network. And the next thing you want to do is to make sure that the phone can find the IP address of your computer, the computer that you're working on. So in this case, I'm working on my desktop Windows 11 PC. So to do that, first you need to go to project settings. Under project settings, edit project settings. Okay, I'll show you the project settings window over here. And you want to scroll down to the section that says UDP messaging. UDP messaging. And then under the unicast endpoint, right, you can click on the drop down and then choose the last option. So this will basically broadcast the stream information, the virtual cam stream information, to be engaged with your mobile phone's Vcam app. Okay, so now we need to create the virtual camera. So go over to add cinematic, no, not cinematic, but virtual production, and then click on Vcam actor. Click on it, and then the virtual camera, you should go into the virtual camera mode now. Now you also notice you cannot move the virtual camera. All right, you can't move the virtual camera at all. So you will have to make sure the virtual camera is selected. Okay, so if you cannot find the virtual camera, you can just type under the search Vcam. Okay, and then click on virtual camera so that you can have access to the properties. Now we want to reposition the camera to a location that we want. So under the virtual camera enabled checkbox, go and uncheck it. All right, and then make sure in your viewport 1, okay, go over to the Vcam actor. All right, and then use the WASD. Okay, you can click on this to pilot the camera. WASD to reposition the camera to a location that you like. So for me, I'm using the WASD Q and E to go up and down until to a location that I like. And once I'm happy with this, then I will click on enable. And now you can see it will reposition it to the new location. Now our virtual camera is basically broadcasting, is trying to get in information from my mobile phone. All right, so right now I'm going to turn on my mobile phone and I'm going to activate the app. And then since I already have the app itself, so if you know the IP address, again, the IP address can be found within your project settings under the UDP messaging, okay, over here. Or you can use the ipconfig, okay, to actually find out under CMD, under your Windows command, all right, to find out your IP address. Okay, let me see whether I can run this. Okay, you can go over to your start. Okay, let me just show you how to find that. And then type CMD, use the command prompt. Okay, and then this command prompt will come out, and then you can just type ipconfig, and then you will find your IP address here, which is this one, 192.168. In this case, that is my IP address. Okay, and then it corresponds actually to the UDP messaging as well. So on my mobile phone, okay, that is where I entered. Now, if you still cannot connect, right, then I suggest you manually enter the IP address yourself. Okay, so right now I'm going to activate my iPhone, okay, and it should link up. Okay, if it doesn't link up, I find that you can go over to the enable button here. Okay, it's linked up already. If you can go to the enable here to turn it on and off, okay, and then turn it on and off, and then it will work again. And this time when I move my camera, you can see that it is now tracking, okay, very well. Okay, now the next step we want to do is to create the composite. So we're gonna do this step by step. Now the first thing is we want to create a media plate to actually bring in the video source. Now I've already have my camera set up, or my webcam set up. Okay, so this webcam is already connected to the USB port of my computer, so it's already connected. And we want to create a media player first, just to make sure that the video stream is coming in. So under my virtual production folder, right mouse click, go under media and create media player, and then check on the box that says video output media texture asset and click OK. All right, then double click on it, and then another window will pop up. All right, so now we want to pick the video stream that's coming in. Now I have several webcams connected. So to bring in the specific webcam, you have to click on this drop down menu here, then choose video, and then choose the camera that you want to use. So I'm using the Insta360 Link 2C. Okay, so if everything works right, you should see the video that is coming in at the moment. And then you can see the green cloth, and then of course my little figurines behind, okay, for the composite, okay, for chroma keying. Okay, so now we want to leave this media source open so we can minimize this. Okay, we can minimize this and then we'll come back to this again. And then we want to go over to composure. So composure, you can think of it like After Effects layers, or even a Photoshop layer where you composite multiple layers. So first we need to create a composure comp. Okay, so create a new comp, and then we're gonna say empty comp type, and then we're gonna call it our composite. Okay, so right now our composite doesn't have any layers or doesn't have any elements that's coming in. So right mouse click on composite, and then we're going to add a layer element. Now the first layer element that we're going to add is our video feed. So we're going to choose media plate first. And when we click on media plate, you notice that, hey, there's no media plate here. So we want to click on the drop down arrow here and then choose media plate. There is where we will have access to all the properties. Now you want to also make sure that when you click on composite that you can see all the properties here. If not, make sure you click on this all button. Okay, so click on media plate, click on the media plate, make sure you're at the media plate properties, and then there is a inputs media source, and then the media source we want to drag the video source for our webcam over here. So here is our media source. Okay, left mouse click and drag and drop it into the media source, and now you can see in the preview window here, you can see that the video is playing. All right, now I want to check that the video stream that I'm getting is correct, so I'm going to double click to bring up the media player video again. So I think these two are the same, so I'm going to close this. So in the media player window, actually I should be clicking this one, not the other one. That one is just a still. So double click on new media player to bring back this feed. Then if you click on the drop down video and then go over to the Insta360 link. So it should have a playback options where you can choose the video format that you're playing back. Right now it is streaming in this format, the MV12 1920 by 1080 by with 30 frames per second, which is actually more than enough for me. Maybe I want to drop it down to 24 frames per second. All right. Right, so that you use slightly less resources. Okay, so this HD image is good enough. Okay, I'm not going to use 4K. Okay, 4K I realize will add a little bit of lag, okay, to the track. Okay, so now I'm going to minimize this. So the media plate is working. So the next thing we want to do is to create a CG plate. The CG plate will basically tap the CG transmission of the virtual camera. In this case, the tracked camera as part of the layer. So right mouse click on composite, on the word, hover your cursor over the word composite, right mouse click and create another layer element. And we're going to call this layer element the CG layer. Right, for this CG layer, we're going to leave these at the default names. Now, all these names, right, we can customize, but we're going to leave it at the default names. Notice that when I click on each specific layer, the preview will show up here in this little thumbnail here. So for the CG element right now, we want to basically create a key. We want to key out the green for the media plate 1. All right, so for the keying process, very simple. Make sure you select the media plate 1, and then we're going to scroll down here. Okay, scroll down here, and then hopefully you can see all the text and all that. Scroll down here until you reach the section that says transform compositing passes, and the pass that we want to use is the chroma key, and it is enabled. But currently there is no color that it is keying out, so we need to tell it which color to choose. So under the key colors, we click on the plus add element, and you notice that right now we can choose the color that we want to key out. So click on this black color swatch here, and then we can click on this eyedropper, and then we can hover over the sample. You can go over the preview here until you find the green that you want, and then we click on it. All right, so once we go over we can go over the media plate again, and let's check and see whether the green is it suitable. You can see that there's still a little bit of green, right? It's still not keyed properly. So we're going to make this preview window a little bit bigger. So go and click on this maximize. All right, and then we're going to adjust the green. So under the green here, click on the samples, and then we're going to adjust the colors. Okay, until we get a good contrast. Okay, this looks pretty good. All right, we have some green spillage over here on the edges here that is reflecting off the green. So we're going to use another function of the composure called the spill. So if you scroll down, there is a despill option. We got chroma keying here. Then we got despill. It is enabled, but there is no colors being told to despill. So we're going to click on plus here to add another color. And then you can see now it's dispelling all the blacks. So that's not what we want. We want to despill only the green. So use the eyedropper again. Then hover over the sides until you can see now the green is gone. And then we can close this. Okay, good. Okay, so far the feed, right, is keying out this nicely. So we can close this. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to put the CG element, or rather we want to put the media plate element on top. So that is where we need to go to the composite right now. Okay, so right now the composite is not working because we need to assign a special composite material so that this composite works. So where do you find this composite material? So you have to click on composite and then go over to the properties over here. And then we're going to look for this section that says transform compositing passes. And we are going to create a new pass. And then under the transform pass, click on this drop down arrow. And then we're going to create a brand new material. So we're going to click on this none, and then we're going to click on material, and we're going to save this material in our virtual production box here, and we're going to name it accordingly. We're going to call it M for material, and then underscore composite, and then save. And now you can see that the composite is working, okay, but we haven't brought in the two layers. Okay, we haven't brought in the two layers to this composite yet, so we need to edit this material. So you can double click this material, you can double click here or double click the new material here, double click on it. You will bring up the material editor. So this is a typical material, which is not what we want. We want to change the material from surface to post-process. So this is a post-process material right now. And we're going to bring in these two elements here. So these 2D plates here. So right mouse click on the work area here, and then search for texture sample parameter 2D, and then we are going to name it exactly. This is very important. We're going to name it exactly that follows the name of these layers. So we're going to call this media underscore plate 1, and then press enter. Okay, and then we're going to duplicate this, Control D, and we're going to rename this by pressing F2, not F12, and then we're going to name it as CG underscore element. So CG underscore element 1. All right, so in the output, RGB and A, just click and drag, click and hold and drag and release, and then we're going to use a composure node over, select this one, and then this will be going into A, and then the RGBA for CG element 1 will be going into B. And then finally the RGBA output will be going into the emissive color of the M composite. Okay, and then we're going to apply. And then you can see we have the composite now working. Fantastic. All right, and then we have our basic tracking working as well. Okay, so now we want to maximize this viewport a little bit, and we're going to do a little bit of adjustments to our virtual camera. Now we are going to activate the tools on the mobile phone itself. Okay, you can actually click on these buttons here, and the button that I really want to use is this transform button here, these 3 arrows here. Click on it, and then you can see both sides. Okay, so this basically controls the movement scaling of the camera. All right, so we want to adjust it so that the movement, right, matches our movement over here. And I find for my setup at least, I have to increase the movement scaling, right, to 10 times, about 10 times, right, so that the sliding becomes less. And also I find that, okay, now you can see it's slightly better, okay, compared to previously. Okay, now you do not want to adjust the joystick scale. Okay, let me just disable this for time being. Now, if you learn more about the virtual cam function, on the left hand side, right, you can, if you put your finger on your phone and then you push forward, you can actually push it forward and backward. This is just like a joystick. And then on the right hand side, using my finger, right, you can actually use it to steer the camera and adjust the camera. So I suggest you watch the other video by Amit from Magnet VFX. He go into greater detail on how to do that. Okay, so now that I've adjusted the cameras, okay, the next thing would, like, how do I capture this video? Now, Windows 11 just released a new feature which I can tap in the live cam, or rather the webcam stream from multiple apps. And I haven't tried that out yet because this is a beta software. But what I find right now, in order for me to capture the video that we are seeing over here, okay, we can actually use Windows' own video capture system. So how does that work? So let me just, because I'm using a 4K screen at the moment, let's just size this up slightly big over here, and I'll try to avoid my video over here. And I'm going to use the video capture feature within Windows 11. So to activate that is Shift, or rather the Windows, you must press the Windows Shift S. Okay, it should bring up the capture and go to video capture mode, and then choose the region that you want to capture, and then click on start, and then it should start to capture the region. That right now you can see that I'm doing a one take to capture the video. Okay, let's capture about 10 seconds and we'll stop. And then there it is. Here is our first take. Okay, so fantastic. So this is a very good alternative, right, rather than having a capture deck, right, to capture a live feed. Now, for more professional setups with the actual camera, you can actually hit record and then record in the green screen footage directly in the camera. And then within Unreal itself, you can also use the take. Okay, let me show you the, under the cinematics, there should be a take recorder. Right, so the take recorder can actually capture the motion of the camera. So in this case, right, we want to capture any actor, sorry, not this one, from the Vcam. Okay, we're going to search for the Vcam. So we're going to capture the, not this one, let me delete this one. So the Vcam actor motion will be captured. Okay, more about this will be explained in Amit's great video from Magnet VFX. Okay, so you can check out that link on how to use this feature. So if you have, if you want to capture the camera movement, right, then you have to use this take. So meanwhile, for now, okay, the setup that I'm using is just simply using this video capture setup in Windows. Okay, so now let me jump back to my slides again. Okay, let me just swap this. So, why did I want to come out with this setup? Now, after going for some video production training, and as well as involved in several video productions, I realized that it is very, very difficult for me to show this to my students, and being an instructor. So I find that this is a great setup for them to learn so much about virtual production. And in fact, it is not particularly expensive. We don't have to get very expensive video equipment, but if they can understand the concepts of all these tracking features that the phone has, and how the camera footage, right, is being piped into the Unreal, and how it's being composited, then it is just an excellent tool, right, to teach them about virtual production and possibly get them interested in this field. And right now, this is possibly the simplest setup that I can come out with. And the good thing is, Okay, it is really portable. Okay, if you have a decent laptop, right, you can set this up right in anywhere, any locations, and then you can actually shoot your virtual production and yeah, and demonstrate it to students. So you can see with this setup over here, okay, let me see whether you can see that I can move my camera around. Yes, it is tethered to the computer. Okay, but the tracking is done really well. Now, granted, I'll prefer the camera, right, to be closer to the lens, okay, so that there is less offset. Okay, but this setup is really good for me at the moment. Okay. All right, my quick release is a little bit finicky. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope that you is willing to try this out, because I think this is a really fun project to do. Okay, let me just jump back to this. And also, if you're an instructor or you are instructor teaching Unreal and virtual production, right, I think this is a relatively affordable and simple setup, right, to get your students interested to try this out on their own. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you again.